Okay, well, the ride-sharing service Uber has welcomed the Harper Review's recommendations to reform the taxi industry. Uber says it supports more competition and that for too long, powerful taxi plate owners have been allowed to protect their financial interests. The company's general manager says Australians want to see reform.
We're focused on delivering a service that the customers clearly prefer to the established options, and the government, I think, will ultimately give the consumers what they want, and that's what the Harper Competition Review is focused on.
But the Taxi Council says mobile app-based services like Uber are illegal de facto taxi services. Now, Chris, this is an area of the Harper Review that interests you, how regulation can limit the expansion of the sharing economy. How could the changes that are proposed in the Harper Review actually help this growth sector?
Well, most important is that we have services that provide things that customers want, that people want. Now, we're seeing an obvious shift from the taxi market into Uber. That is happening in spite of a very, very substantial taxi regulatory framework, which has been for a very long time designed to suppress competition and artificially raise the profits of taxi license holders, which, as many people know, aren't always the taxi drivers themselves. What we need to be talking about is a way that we can change regulatory structures, change regulatory frameworks so that we encourage new Ubers, new alternative services in all areas of the economy, not just in taxis, but obviously, you know, we see sharing economy things in hotel accommodation. We see it in the financial sector. The financial sector is ripe for competition review and so forth. And I think the Harper Competition Review is a really good step in that direction. But the challenge is any change is going to offend a lot of really deep special interests, and dealing with that is politically very complicated.
Chris, reform of the taxi industry would no doubt be good for consumers, but would it necessarily be good for the workers, the people who drive cabs, who are already struggling to making a living?
Well, one of the reasons that they're struggling to make a living is because there's so much of the capital of the taxis tied up in these incredibly expensive taxi licenses. Now,
which I think cost around about $350,000, and I've seen some. I think the New South Wales regulator said 20% of the fares actually go to those licenses.
In Victoria, some of the there have been some recent reforms because there's been an understanding that when you close out competition, it artificially boosts the prices of those licenses, and the only people who win are those who've invested in licenses, not the workers. But we've got a lot of evidence to suggest that that a more deregulated taxi sector would be good even if you didn't have Uber. The Uber thing just makes it real pressure on the taxi industry. It's time to change.
All right.